Shalom, Yashala, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High Yahweh. I do so in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Yasharallah. Call Haloyim Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Harakah Kodash, for blessing our elders with the spirit of truth, so that we may know. Shout out to the Akim and the Akwah that's keeping the faith and the works. Y'all keep at it. This your brother Abaya coming at you with more precepts. This is the book of John, chapter 4 and verse 22. Ye worship ye know not what. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews. Point I want, ye worship ye know not what. Right? This is so-called, Christmas that so-called celebrates the birth of so-called Christ. A lot of so-calls, right? On December 25th, right? And it's so many so-called Christians and real talk. Everybody, and not ain't necessarily got to do with a Christianity nowadays. Right? For real. But it's rooted in Christianity. Right? So many people are celebrating this day today, not understanding that the root of its origin in Christianity stems all the way back to Samaria or Babel. These are ancient pagan days, man. All right? They have been proven time and time again. And real talk, your pastor can even tell you for real, if he really know anything about script and know anything about this day, that dude know it's pagan. Just like he know Halloween pagan. Right? But he still is celebrating this day. Right? But ye worship ye know not what. So many people have no idea that they are practicing paganism right now, like ancient witchcraft. They don't understand it. They think it's just, people getting together to, eat a good meal, see people you ain't seen in a while, give each other gifts, come together for, a certain deity, right? But you're not understanding those are ancient practices. I'm talking about the exact same thing that people are doing right now and calling Christmas is the exact same thing that was going on during the times of Babel. Same things. Sitting down to a meal, exchanging gifts with your friends and family. Same thing. Getting the tree and putting it into some place, right, to be seen. It's the exact same thing. Putting the gifts under the tree, decorating the tree, same thing. All right. So with that being said, I'm gonna let this video play, and I'm gonna bring out a book that I have. All right, but I'll be back.
The annual cultural and commercial phenomenon to celebrate the birth of the center figure of Christianity is upon us. Now, even though Christians still try and maintain the religious elements of Christmas with reminders of the Nativity, over time, many of the traditions and practices have become. Now, even though Christians still try and maintain the religious elements of Christmas with reminders of the Nativity, over time, many of the traditions and practices have become so secular, the most notorious elements have little to no reference to the reason for the holiday. And while Christians have allowed the holiday to become more non-religious throughout history, all in hopes of encouraging inclusiveness so the celebration would not be made illegal, the origin of Christmas being the birth of Jesus Christ is still enough for many to say they are offended by anything which has to do with the holiday. So much so, they want Jesus, the Virgin Mary, and Santa, the next target, to be canceled. I'm Skynell Hughes, and on today's News Views Hughes here on RT America, we're going to look at the latest
All right. So basically, what you heard, you heard the Christian spiel about the thing, right? It's about going out, you know what I mean, putting the Christmas lights and decorations on your cars and on your houses and so forth and so on. But you heard what she said. Its origin is Christian and, the birth of Christ, and spoke about the nativity, and she spoke about it being inclusive as to not make it illegal. So they had to legalize that thing. You understand? So in order for it to keep on going, they had to twist it up a bit to make it not illegal to practice. These are not new things. It's the same thing, bro, throughout all the history. They had to tweak it a bit so that it could still operate in society. Right? The same old spirit is what we are witnessing. So hold on one sec. All right, so this is a book entitled Babylon Mystery Religion, right? But before I get into this book, I want to read a portion of an article in Snopes.com that's basically speaking about Christmas in America in its early stage, right? It says, in any event, it is true that the celebration of Christmas was indeed banned in colonial Massachusetts in 1659. That ban was motivated largely by the austere Puritan religious beliefs of authorities in the colony, who objected to the December 25th celebration for two main reasons. Because it was originally a pagan winter festival, co-opted by Christians and lacking in any biblical basis, and because it was typically accompanied by merriment and indulgence, and therefore was anathema, which is like an intense loathe or hate to the Puritan principles of sobriety and hard work, right? Point I wanted to get out of that paragraph was it was lacking in any biblical basis, and in 1659, Christmas was outlawed. It was banned, right? Another part of this article says the Puritan crackdowns on Christmas in Massachusetts had a recent precedent in English history. During the 1640s and 1650s, under the influence of Oliver Cromwell, England's short-lived Republican Parliament passed laws restricting and prohibiting the celebration of Christmas. All right. So this so-called holiday being entangled with the law it's not new, right? It always has to change. It has to evolve to fit the society that it's in at the time. The further back you go with Christmas, the more sexual you get, because it was during the time of pure deed wickedness. They didn't have to sugarcoat anything. So whatever it is they wanted to do, if they ran society, that's what it was, right? But now let's get into this book. This is Babylon Mystery Religion, Chapter 20, entitled The Winter Festival. The Winter Festival, right? It says Christmas, December 25th, is the day designated on our calendars as the day of Christ's birth. But is this really the day on which he was born? Are today's customs at this season of Christian origin? Or is Christmas another example of mixture between paganism and Christianity? Right? Now, why aren't the pastors speaking on all aspects of this day? Right? It's because of that 501c3, man, that tax form. They can't say whatever it is they want to say. They have to abide by a strict a strict legal document saying that They will speak on A, B, C, and D in order to receive tax breaks, man. These are facts. All right. But it says in Babylon Mystery Religion, the Winter Festival, chapter 20. All right. Matter of fact, let me see. All right. It says later when churches at various places did begin celebrating the birthday of Christ, there was much difference of opinion as to the correct date. It was not until the latter part of the 4th century, before the Roman Church began observing December 25th, yet by the 5th century, it was ordering that the birth of Christ be forever observed on this day, even though this was the day of the old Roman feast of the birth of Saul, one of the names of the sun god. Notice it said one of the names, because this sun god is ancient and it's all the way up in 2021. That's where so-called Jesus come from, man. They got you worshiping the sun god. All right. That's what it means when people say, well, Christianity, that come from the walls of Egypt. No. Sun worship comes from the walls of Egypt. And they got that from Babel with Nimrod and Tammuz. All right. It says, let me see. I'll read that part over. It said it was not until the latter part of the 4th century before the Roman Church began observing December 25th. Yet by the 5th century, it was ordering that the birth of Christ be forever observed on this date, even though this was the day of the old Roman feast of the birth of Saul, one of the names of the sun god. All right, it says Fraser, the largest pagan religious cult, which fostered the celebration of December 25th as a holiday throughout the Roman and Greek worlds, right? Roman and Greek worlds. The calendar that you follow, what kind of calendar is it called? Right? These days of the week, where do those names come from? All of that comes from Rome and Greek, right? Or Rome and Greece, rather. It says, let me start that part over. Says Fraser, the largest pagan religious cult which fostered the celebration of December 25th as a holiday throughout the Roman and Greek worlds was the pagan sun worship Mithraism. This winter festival was called the Nativity. Notice what she said. The minutes later that was speaking on the newscast, speaking about the Nativity. That is pagan, man. Right? It says the nativity of the sun, S-U-N, was this, or Salah. The Catholic Encyclopedia says the well-known solar feast of Natalis Invicti, the nativity of the unconquered sun, celebrated on the 25th of December, has a strong claim on the responsibility for our December date. Right? The Catholic Church know what's up. If the Catholic Church know what's up, your pastor know what's up. Right? Telling you, man, these folks got you practicing witchcraft and you don't even know it. You can say you gathering together for family, and you can say all that all you want, but these folks got you in the motion because they know who you are and they know your weakness. They know your kryptonite. It's all in scripts. The only time we fall as a nation is when we in sin. When we not in sin, man, we on top. Can't be touched, literally. Can't nobody touch us. But as long as we in sin, we stay on the bottom, and they know this. Right? That's why these days are so important to them. Right? It's so important that Christmas go by successfully. That's why they talk about it all the time. Not just Christmas, but Thanksgiving and all these other holidays. It's important for them. All right. Let's see. Um, it says the winter festival was very popular in ancient times in pagan Rome and Greece in the days of the Teutonic barbarians, in the remote times of ancient Egyptian civilization. The period of the winter solstice was ever a period of rejoicing and festivity because this season was so popular. It was adopted as the time of the birth of Hamashiach by the Roman Church. All right. It says some of our present day Christmas customs were influenced by the Roman Saturnalia. All right. It says it is common knowledge, says one writer, that much of our association with the Christmas season, the holidays, the giving of presents, and the general feeling of geniality is but the inheritance from the Roman winter festival of the Saturnalia, survivals of paganism. This is what you practicing right now. This is what you're operating in. Now, a lot of people say, well, that's them. You know, it is what it is. Because we're coming together for this. Okay, do this then. Draw a circle. Draw a big ass circle. You ain't got to be in blood in there. Go get you a Crayola. Draw a real big circle in the middle of your room. Right, in your living room. Put a 5-point star in the middle of it. Put a 5-point star in the middle of that circle. Right. Write some words around the circle. It don't even matter what the words are. Just write words around the circle and light you some candles. Do that feel right? Do that even sound right, me saying it? And you can say, well, you know, I'm doing this for meditation purposes. Well, I'm doing this to relax more. No, bro. No. You are practicing in something that you visually can see is wrong. You've always been taught that it's wrong. The difference is between that and Christmas is you've never been taught it's wrong, but it's wrong. All right? It says, Tertullian mentions that the practice of exchanging presents was a part of Saturnalia. Right? Says the Christmas tree, as we know it, only dates back a few centuries, though ideas about sacred trees are very ancient. An old Babylonish fable told of an evergreen tree which sprang out of a dead tree stump. The old stump symbolized the dead Nimrod. The new evergreen tree symbolized that Nimrod had come to life again in Tammuz. Among the Druids, the oak was sacred. Among the Egyptians, it was the palm. And in Rome, it was the fir, which was decorated with red berries during the Saturnalia. The Scandinavian god Odin was believed to bestow special gifts at Yuletide to those who approached his sacred fir tree. All right, there it is, man. All right, there it is. Let me read another portion of this. It says the Christmas tree, right, recaps the idea of tree worship. Gilded nuts and balls symbolize the sun. All of the festivities of the winter solstice have been absorbed into Christmas Day. The use of holly and mistletoe from the Druidic ceremonies, the Christmas tree from the honors paid to Odin's sacred fir. All right. You go further back from Odin, it'll take you to you'll go to what? Ra, Isis, and Osiris in Egypt. You go to Samaria is Nimrod, Semiramis, and Tammuz. Right? You go to Greece is Zeus, Aphrodite, and Apollo. You go to Rome is Saturn, Jupiter, Diana, and Mercury. Right? Modern day Christianity, God, Mary, Jesus. It's the same damn serpent, man. Right? That same serpent. Now, let's get some script, man. And I'm going to close out. Because even what's going on now, it ain't nothing new. The Most High sending his prophets to warn the people that they're practicing in things that they ought not. Right? And the people saying, I don't want to hear that. And continuing on doing what they're doing. Right? It's the book of Second Kings, chapter 17 and verse 28. Says, then one of the priests whom they had carried away from Samaria came and dwelt in Bethel and taught them how they should fear Yahweh. Right? Letting them know, hey, the Most High wants you to keep his holy days, keep his customs. Don't follow the ways of the heathens, right? Says, howbeit every nation made gods of their own and put them in the house of the high places which the Samaritans had made, every nation in their cities wherein they dwelt, wherever they were, whether they were in Egypt, Europe, right, Mexico, North America, Central America, South America, Canada, wherever you are, right? It says, in verse 3 to 6, 2 Kings chapter 17 and verse 30. And the men of Babylon made Succoth Benoth, and the men of Cuth made Nergal, and the men of Hamath made Ashima, and the Avites made Nebaz and Tartak, and the Savarites burnt their children in fire to Adramelech and Anamelech, the gods of Savarvan, right? So they feared Yahweh and made unto themselves of the lowest of them priests of the high places, which sacrificed for them in the houses of the high places. So they went and got the lowest level individuals to be the pastors, right? To go before the Most High, right? Even though they know that they people are practicing in witchcraft and idolatry and paganism, right? It says in verse 33, they feared Yahweh and served their own gods after the manner of the nations whom they carried away from thence. Unto this day they do after the former manners. They feared not Yahweh, neither do they after their statutes, or after their ordinances, or after the law and commandment which Yahweh commanded the children of Jacob, whom he named Israel. So-called black man, so-called Native American man, and so-called Hispanic man, all the so-called Negro descendant, all our brethren around the world. Christmas ain't ours, man. That come from the nations, right? 2 Kings chapter 17 and verse 39. But Yahweh your power ye shall fear, and he shall deliver you out of the hand of all your enemies. Howbeit they did not hearken, but they did after their former manner. So these nations feared Yahweh and served their graven images, both their children and their children's children, as did their fathers, so do they unto this day. The Most High says that his people have a zeal, but not according to knowledge. We got a zeal of power, but it's not according to knowledge, not according to what we're supposed to be doing, what we're supposed to be celebrating. Our people say they know God, and they believe God rightfully is the one that they celebrating right now, and they not. All right? The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 9, and verse 11. It says, and they that have loathed my law while they had yet liberty, and when as yet place of repentance was open unto them, understood not but despised it. The same must know it after death by pain. That's going to be your gift from the Father when that time come, man. You can't say I didn't know. You can't say I had no idea I was practicing paganism, because yet you know, right? You just not going to do right. So, hey, it is what it is. Most High willing, these precepts in this video were edifying. Call Haloim Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai by Hashem Harakah Kwadash. Shalom, Yahshalom.
Christian faith faith are not taking this attack lightly, including the church, who see Christmas as not the only day where Christianity is under attack. This is violence against those of Christian faith is becoming more common in countries where Christianity has previously been accepted all around the world. But as Christians are having to fight for their survival in other countries, here in America, it's not violence which is causing major damage to the Christian church. Rather, it's the ability for the church to keep their lights on and their doors open, as church tax deductions are being limited by the U.S. government unless they comply with certain social standards. Ability for the church to keep their lights on and their doors open, as church tax deductions are being limited by the U.S. government unless they comply with certain social standards. Isn't this the separation